Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for the month of October 2025. You have this ant spirit says time to collaborate. You have this elephant spirit says learn from the past. There is something about this month for you, Libra, that I do feel, could be you examining the past or looking at, how far you've come, I think is maybe a better way to put it. It's like, I think sometimes people don't realize how much a retrograde in an opposite sign can affect you. So, we had Neptune and Saturn retrograding in Aries. Neptune is still there until the middle of the month. Saturn's in Pisces now. But, again, even though it's not your sign, you could still be feeling that energy of, that kind of retrograde energy, even though it's not a Mercury retrograde yet. We will have a Mercury retrograde in November, but you could be doing a lot of like looking and examining and, thinking about things from the past. It's funny that you start with Aries right here with the Emperor in your reading. It's almost like the reading is basically saying like, yeah, that Aries energy is probably affecting you more than other people. And, it's just something to think about. I don't really see it as a bad thing either here, Libra. I kind of feel it's a good thing for you, really, because, again, elephants, are very smart animals, right? And so it's like you are probably have learned a lot in the past, and now you're using what you've learned. And I kind of feel like that's what the Emperor is saying. The Emperor is all about action. He's sitting here on his throne, but he has his armor on underneath his cloak. I always say that the Emperor is really the card of being ready for an opportunity because, he's just sitting there. He's not really stressing out or anything like that, but he's, he is prepared when an opportunity shows up. He has his armor on. So I definitely feel that some of you, there could be an opportunity. I feel like I said this to you in your most recent reading as well, Libra, but you end with the Ace of Pentacles, and, the Ace of Pentacles can be like a really good opportunity that's coming in for you. So I would be ready for, something to come in here. I would be looking for an opportunity as well, like if you want one. I think, I said this at the beginning of the year that, this is one of those years where squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? It's like you have to, nothing is just going to magically happen. So, people who take action and like go look for things are going to find them basically. And so I would start looking, whatever the opportunity is, for a lot of you, it could be financial, but whatever. You have the Six of Wands. Six of Wands is a card of success or, an achievement coming in for you here, Libra. I kind of feel like some of you, it's almost like you need to put yourself on this horse. He is sitting on his high horse on this card, and the white horses in the tarot represent assistance, but he is had a victory and he is getting credit for everything that he's done. So again, the beginning of your reading really is talking about the past, but what you have learned from the past. And you also have that ant spirit that says time to collaborate, right? There are a bunch of people on this card. You have the Three of Pentacles coming up in the reading as well. So I think it would be a great time for you to maybe step up and take the lead on, a project or something you want to do in your life, and, get people who support you to help you so that you can complete your vision or so that you can be successful. And it seems to me like that's what you're doing here. You have the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles is a card of studiousness, learning, all those other things. It's almost like it's kind of weird because the elephant spirit says learn from the past. I feel maybe what this reading should be saying is that you need to integrate what you have learned from the past. It's like, I don't really feel there's any more learning for you to do. It's almost like the universe in this first row is saying, you have all the tools you've based off of what you have learned, but it's like now you need to use them. Now you need to implement and integrate what you have learned, right? It's like that next step of, I call it turning knowledge into wisdom. You can know things all day long, but if you don't use it, then you have no clue what you're talking about, right? It kind of, I always use the example of like learning a language. It's like when you can learn a language, and you can become fluent in a language, but if you go somewhere and like try to use it, then you're going to realize that there's like slang words that they use in different locations and things like that. It's like, that is knowledge into wisdom. You can't learn those like little extra things until you go and do it, right? So, there's like a level above learning. And I feel like that's what the Page of Pentacles is saying. Weirdly enough, I do feel that this is not really a love reading, although that could change when we clarify. But I do feel like some of you, I feel like some of you have a friend that is interested in you for sure. Although you are a Libra. Libra is supposed to be the most attractive sign. So, of course that, I guess that makes sense, right? With the Emperor, here you go. You have the Ten of Cups. So, like I said, sure, you could be attracting an Emperor. I think we're all being encouraged to focus on a dream this month because we have Neptune going back into Pisces. And, I've said to many people that Neptune and Pisces, it's like this is our last chance to manifest that impossible dream or to do something that we think is really hard, because Neptune is the impossible dream. And we have Saturn there. And like I've said as well, that, that Saturn is a blessing, because Saturn says if you do the work, you can have it. So I would be thinking about any dreams or anything that you've dreamed of having and see what you can do. With the Six of Wands, you have the Tower here. I feel like you're surprising people, really. I don't feel bad about this Tower, really. The Six of Wands is a card of victory or success, and the Tower can be like people not realizing, what you have learned. But again, I would use the information that you have learned, and I would use the things that the things that you figured out, because you really could be kind of like showing off here, getting a lot of attention. I will say the end of the year here, I would say really until March, the energy is a little bit spicy. So like globally, sure, I think there could be global Tower moments. There will be between now and the end of the year, and so that's just it. Well, here I told you, with the Page of Pentacles, you have the Ace of Cups. I think you have a friend that's interested in you. It just feels like a friend to me. It feels like someone or something like that. So, if you think someone is interested, you're probably right here, Libra. The Ace of Cups is about, following your heart as well. And there has been a lot of heart-based energy this month. This is going to become even more, like in the middle of November. We have Uranus going back into Taurus, and Uranus is retrograde in Gemini right now. But Uranus is very, in Taurus is very heart-based energy. We have to do things that fulfill us. And, it kind of pushes us to do more things that are heart-based. So, like I said, it's kind of like a very common energy at this time. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Dreaming card. It says creation, nonlinear time, and sacred sites. You have this Friends card. It says emotional support, messages, and longing. And yeah, there is a very social element to this reading. Three of Pentacles, Six of Wands. Six of Wands we wouldn't really consider to be a social card, but for whatever reason, I feel like it is. I feel like there are people who are supporting you, cheering you on. Those are the people that I would be paying attention to. And yeah, this whole time, I didn't even see that Dream card, and we've been talking about this dreamy energy with that Ten of Cups, so I would definitely start working towards a dream or something that is a dream. And I feel you have all the tools. Like I said, you just need to like get out into the wild and use those tools so that you can, take advantage of an opportunity that will get you closer to your dream or whatever. You have the Devil, the Four of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles. Yeah, I know what this is attachment to the past and doing things the same way. It's actually very obvious with those three cards here. The Devil, I always like to remind people, like, the Devil doesn't really have to be bad, and you have the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is a card of convention, and, so he just does what works, and there's nothing really wrong with doing what works, obviously, but sometimes he doesn't evolve. He doesn't, change with the times. He doesn't learn new things necessarily. He just always does what works, and, there comes a time where sometimes in life, like, we have to learn new ways of working or new ways of doing things that we want to do so that we can evolve. And that's kind of what I get here. It's like the Devil might be saying like, hey, you're too attached to the old way of doing your job, or, finding a job, or, working in your business, or whatever it is. I do feel it's financial. Four of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, obviously. And I feel it's just saying, like, if you would just, use what you have learned, you probably would evolve. You would be able to do things in a different way. And, I think that would be very beneficial for you. Like I said, if you just keep doing what works, I don't think anything, bad will happen necessarily. I always say with the King of Pentacles, just like 80% of the time, do what works. 20% of the time, try something new and see what happens, right? You have the Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles is a card of stability. Sometimes I like the Four of Pentacles, sometimes I don't. He can represent holding on too tightly to the past, which I don't really feel like that bad about it in your reading here, Libra, intuitively, but I do feel getting with the times, upgrading your skills, working on the things that you've learned and implementing them in the world would probably be very beneficial for you. But again, I also do feel that it's kind of just saying that your focus is on financial security. And so, I think you're just like working on those things. I feel like you need to get into alignment with something as well. He has this pentacle here, this pentacle here. One of my favorite people of all time, Greg Braden, says, when your head and your heart become one, you can move mountains. So you literally could move mountains at this time in your life if you get into alignment. And if you're doing things that your head and your heart want to do, and you get those two energies working together, then that's probably where success is going to come from. It's interesting that you have the devil. I think a lot of people are being pushed to do this right now, but the fear is the fact that we had Pluto and Capricorn. Pluto and Capricorn going into Aquarius is like the death of establishment. So it's like we are all being asked to follow our like head and heart, and mostly our heart with Uranus and Taurus, even though it's not back there yet, but it's been there the whole time. And it can be a little bit scary. It's like your heart could be telling you to do something. You might be thinking to yourself, oh, there's no way I can make money doing this, or there's no way I could support myself if I followed my heart. But really what you don't know is that you actually could. And so it's about like taking that risk. You have the King of Pentacles. I do feel good about this money-wise. I mean, we go up to the, Nine of Pentacles. We go over to the Ace of Pentacles here. So there are, financial improvements, or you are clearly focused on financial improvements. I do think Libra is focused on, that's a big focus for Libra in general. Again, the King of Pentacles, sometimes he's playing it a little bit too safe. And so I would encourage you to, not, I'm not saying you should do anything dangerous, of course, Libra, but I think taking some risks and, trying some new things in work or business or whatever might be very beneficial for you and would probably increase your finances even more. He has these grapes on his cloak, and the Nine of Pentacles, she has grapes behind her. The grapes in the tarot represent something that's difficult to grow, but you can do well. And so that elephant, again, is saying you have a skill on, or something you learned. And if you use that skill, it might be difficult for most people, but if you do it, it could make you very successful. So I would really be taking a look at your skills, like what you're good at, or any skills that you've been learning, and I would just be using them. Here you go. With the devil, you have the Six of Wands. Yes, kind of separating away from the devil. I don't really think it's a devil in your life. I don't feel intuitively that it's anything toxic. I think it's just past attachments to ideas or how you do things, and but overcoming that energy is clearly what's going to make you a success with that Six of Wands. With the Four of Pentacles, you have the Nine of Wands. Yeah, experimentation, right? One of the solutions to the King of Pentacles is experimentation. Nine of Wands is my card of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. It's basically a card of trying things, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and going from there. And so I feel a lot of you could be in this position of experimentation. I would definitely, again, even though I don't really feel it, I would definitely be putting up boundaries against anything toxic in your life. I mean, just even with the astrology, we had that eclipse in Virgo, South Node in Virgo, great time for healing, great time for putting up boundaries against things that are toxic in your life. And so if there's no reason not to do it, is what I would say with the Nine of Wands. With the King of Pentacles, you have the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like needing to get over yourself here, Libra. There's no other way to put it, right? It's, needing to let go of the fear of being left out in the cold, and again, to me, this is very Pluto going from Capricorn to Aquarius. And yes, Pluto's been in Aquarius all year, but it's retrograde until the middle of this month, and, it's going to get to like 1.3 degrees of Aquarius, so very close to Capricorn. And Pluto moves very, very slow. So again, it can take like a few years for us to like really implement that change from going from Capricorn to Aquarius. And, again, I think that this is about believing in yourself. The whole first row, Six of Wands. Like I said, I think you need to put yourself on a pedestal, I think is what I said, on the first Six of Wands. And, you need to believe in yourself enough, it's like you need to claim the credit, it's like I think a lot of people hold themselves back. It's like I get a lot of questions from people that are like, should I write this book? I'm like, well, yeah, you should do, or, should I start my YouTube channel, or should I do this? I'm like, yes, you need to believe that you are good enough to do it. And that's kind of what I'm getting off the Five of Pentacles, right? And even right next to it, you have the Three of Pentacles. He's putting his work on display. He is showing his work. So whatever you're working on here, Libra, it could even be yourself. I feel like believing in yourself is what it's asking you to do. Next, in the area of what messages from your future self, you have this indirect source and this unexpected unknown. Yeah, there could be, the Tower can be something unexpected coming in for you here. The indirect source is a very common energy right now, I feel. And no one else has had this month. Only you have had something about an indirect source. And, it's kind of hard to describe the energy, but I will try to do my best here, Libra. Neptune going into Pisces. Neptune will go back into Pisces, like I said, this month, in the middle of the month. And the thing about Neptune and Pisces is that things come through inspiration. So it's like, if you don't know what to do in your life, the Neptune and Pisces wants you to go find something that inspires you. And then, it's like one thing leads to another. It's like that's the indirect source. You might start by writing a book, and then you might end with a YouTube channel. Basically doing the same thing but different. And that's what the indirect source thing is that we have to start on this path of inspiration, but where it ends, maybe we don't really know. And probably the things that we're starting right now or creating during this time, it's going to look very different at the end. And, I don't think that should scare you. That should excite you because, it's like a journey. It's an adventure. You have the Nine of Cups, the Page of Swords, and the Three of Pentacles. Nine of Cups, of course, is a card of wish fulfillment. And I would definitely make a wish. It's kind of weird. A lot of people have had the Nine of Cups this month. And I just, not something I really expected to show up during October. But sure, make a wish. I would also say that matching the energy of what you want is going to be very important for you. And that's really what I would pay attention to. I think energy, like how we do things, is important. It's like there are days where, I do extra readings every single day because there are days, believe it or not, that I take off, right? And that's the reason I do extra readings for the most part, is because if I don't feel like super excited to do it, I don't do readings because I know they're not going to be good, right? And, really, it doesn't happen very often for me, but, again, I try to do things being in a more, excited state, right? Or I try to bring some excitement to it. And, that's like the Nine of Cups. It's kind of, for you, Libra, I feel like it's saying the energy that you do things from, it needs to be excited or inspired or, happy, right? When you're working on something. And I would try to make sure that you either, and there are things, before I keep babbling here, there are things we can do, I think, to get more excited, right? Or we can, do certain exercises to get us in that state. And I would make sure you are. You have the Page of Swords that I can't get off the table. The Page of Swords is, some people say it's a spy. I do feel like some of you maybe have a friend or something, like I said, that could be interested if you want love. I think this could be a person that, I don't really think they're hiding anything. I don't think it's like a toxic thing or anything like that. But, they could be, it's like one of those things, right? If you're interested in a friend, it's like sometimes you're like, if I tell them, and they don't want to be my lover, then they're not going to be my friend anymore, right? And so, I don't know, I just get this feeling of a person who's trying to avoid awkwardness or, something like that. I feel like if this is for you, I feel you have a feeling about this person, right? You probably know. And so, I don't know if that helps or not, but that's what I'm getting. I do think, you have two aces. And so, the two aces would say this person is probably going to do something in the future, maybe. You have the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, really important for you, especially Six of Wands twice, to put your work into the world. It's like being open to criticism as well is kind of popping into my head. He's done this work, and now he's opened himself up to potentially be criticized. And that's going to be very important. It's kind of like one of those things. I teach YouTube on the weekends, and I've started telling people, I'm like, you have to be on camera. I have so many people that are like, can I do this and not be on camera? And I used to say yes, but now I pretty much say no, because of AI, right? It's like, I'm like, if you're not, people are automatically going to jump to AI, even if you make mistakes, even if your voice doesn't sound like AI. Like, we're very, very close to having it sound perfect, right? And I'm like, so I tell these people, I'm like, people are going to think that you are AI if you're not, right? And so we are kind of in a very vulnerable period of time. And but again, I think authenticity and vulnerability are the two things that will beat AI, if you're worried about your job or your business getting taken, right? And so you really have to kind of like create in public, and I feel like that's what the Three of Pentacles is saying for you. With the Nine of Cups, you have the Queen of Wands. I'm pretty sure you get the Queen of Wands with me a lot. And Queen of Wands is about being bold, assertive. Like, she needs to do those things. She also is following the sun. She has a sunflower right here, points towards the sun. And so, again, we were talking about doing something that could be a little bit scary, or, following your heart. And, that's basically what she does. She doesn't, and the funny thing about her is she's a card of learning as you go. So she doesn't necessarily know what the outcome is. We said this. It's like how you start something is not how you're going to finish it. But she's perfectly happy to go on that adventure. With the Page of Swords, you have the Seven of Pentacles. Oh, come on, Libra. Every single reading, is the juice worth the squeeze, right? And so you might be the one that is interested in a friend, and you could be like, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is it worth it if I lose this person? You could be going back and forth. And by the way, if it is you, I do feel this person is definitely interested. I mean, it looks like someone's going to make an offer here. We'll see what comes up in this last row, but two aces would definitely be starting something. Seven of Pentacles, I mean, it's like we go to the Nine of Pentacles here, Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Wands. You're clearly being pushed towards growing something new. It's like something has run its course. I do feel it's financial for a lot of you Libras, and, I'm cheating a little bit because of your astrology. I think for many years you've been doing things that you've had to do. And the switch that's coming in for Libra is being able to do something that you want to do. But that could be scary. It's like if you have a job that basically pays your bills, but you're thinking about doing something different, then, it could be a little nerve-wracking. With the Three of Pentacles, you show up with the Justice card. Whenever you show up as yourself, it kind of puts you in a position of power and strength, allows you to get what you want from the reading. So I feel for a lot of you that you're just kind of like showing up in a strong position. The reading is kind of all about you, Libra, as well. So, it makes sense. Let's see. Sorry, that deck isn't cooperating. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have the Stay in Integrity card and this Clear Your Energy card. Like I said, with all the Virgo energy that we have experienced, it's a great time to do things like clearing your energy, getting rid of blockages, all those things. We've talked about it before, so I feel a lot of you could be working on those things in general. I think the Stay in Integrity card is about staying in integrity with yourself and not putting yourself in positions that you hate, with that Devil card especially. And so if you're doing things, anything, it doesn't have to be work. It could be anything you're doing in your life. I feel eliminating those things that you really don't want to do is what this reading is saying as well. You have the Nine of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is like wealth building, success, gratitude, luxuries, pre-Empress energy. So there is a really good energy here for you at the end, Libra. She also has those grapes, literally saying that your skills could be the thing that is going to make you more money, right? So I feel the whole entire reading is talking about, the skills you've learned over the years and like how you can use them differently in your life. And that's exactly what I would do with that card. You have the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is out with the old, in with the new. The whole entire reading is out with the old, in with the new. Seven of Pentacles. He's looking at something he's already done. And he's saying, okay, like what's the next step? What's the next process that I can get involved in, or what's the next thing that I can do? And so I feel a lot of you are focused on that. Ace of Wands is growth. We do see good growth here. I mean, Seven of Pentacles is not a bad card. I mean, still a growth card. Nine of Pentacles, same thing. So a lot of you are probably growing. You have the Ace of Pentacles. Again, I think you need to go look for an opportunity. Like I said, with that Emperor card, the Ace of Pentacles is normally an opportunity that is being given to you, by God. Basically, that's the hand of God reaching out, giving you an opportunity. But here's the thing, is you have the Seven of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is about creating heaven on earth. So it basically says you need to create your own heaven on earth. You need to create your own opportunities. And it seems to me like that's what you're doing here with the Ace of Pentacles. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Knight of Cups here. And the Knight of Cups is definitely love. Could be a knight in shining armor. Some of you could be going from very independent to getting into a connection. So if you want love, it's definitely showing up here. And it's funny that, we were talking about this Page of Swords. So again, I do think if this is the other person, that they will make an offer. With the Ace of Wands, you have the Hierophant. I feel we all need to be, it's showing up in the good stuff, but we are definitely in a time where we should be careful of Hierophant energy. It's not that the Hierophant is bad, but the Hierophant can be a little bit inside the box, and we need to think, we are in a very outside the box time. I mean, Uranus and Gemini alone, is crazy ass idea, so, we need to think outside the box and be, kind of be willing to experiment, try new things. Another message that could be you creating heaven on earth, though, the Hierophant is the card of communicating with heaven and earth. He communicates with both sides. So, I think a lot of you could be communicating with both sides here with the Hierophant. With the Ace of Pentacles, you have the Star. Love it. Definitely very good. The Star is kind of like hope, faith, renewal. And the Star is about committing to an opportunity fully. She's just dipping her toes in the water, but she needs to like dive into the deep end. And that's, I think if any opportunity that excites you, I would make that full commitment. You have this bad card that says something important such as a new job or a raise. Didn't we say that? I'm pretty sure. There's definitely work changes for Libra. Again, this comes up in your astrology. It doesn't really surprise me. You have this bowl. It says plenty of material things. Yeah, we talked about it this whole time, that you are working on building wealth or security. And, that could lead to an increase in material goods if you want that. You have this Wind Chimes card. It says peace and harmony. You had this card with me in your last reading. So that's crazy, but, definitely could be, focus on peace and harmony. You have this good luck card. So, again, Uranus and Taurus is not lucky. And yeah, I know that it's not going to retrograde there till next month, but it doesn't really matter. We're very close. It's already been in Taurus as well. And so we have to create our own luck. And again, the whole entire reading is saying you need to create your own heaven. And so you have to do things that make you lucky. You have this Moon card. It says changes in your life. Yeah, definitely a lot of changes. We're in a significant time of change, so everybody is changing as well. But this looks pretty good, Libra. Make sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your month.